Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Developer using Django. So now we talked quite a lot about creating app, all of that, but we didn't actually create any app in the last video. So in this video, we're going to create our very first app and we're going to call that as Hola. Hola is hello in Spanish, and we're going to create something like this, okay? It's kind of like a hello world, but with a little bit creativity here. Okay, so what you have to do first of all is go back onto your terminal, and if your app is already running, make sure you hit Control C to kill that app. And I'm going to press Control L to just get at the very top and clean up my screen. Okay, so again, make sure you do ls and you are able to see your manage.py file here, because this is the file which is going to create everything for us. So first of all, we're going to run Python 3. And this app can be created using this manage.py file. And what we have to do in order to create an app, we have to write a command that says start app. Okay, notice start project was to make an entire project, but you can create as many apps inside that as you wish. And for that, the command is start app. Okay, and we're going to call our app as Hola. And again, I'll give you a couple of assignment as well for different languages. Like in India, we call Namaste as for hello. So I'll be giving you that as an assignment. So we're going to create that. And it's going to take a couple of minutes or maybe seconds to create this project. And there we go. We have created that. Okay. Now, before we move ahead and go ahead and run this and everything, all of that, notice here that we have a hello world, which is like our base app. And inside that, we have another directory here, which we got a Hola. And notice we have got a couple of different files as compared to what we have studied in the last time. Okay, so in this video, we're going to explore these files and we're going to learn what these files are actually, how they work, and where we can write all these stuff. Okay, so first of all, again, our init.py, we usually don't touch this file. And let me just first walk you through what are these files and how we just use them. First of all, directly let's jump to the admin.py. Now this admin.py file is a configuration file for the built-in Django admin app. Now, yes, you heard it right, built-in admin Django app. There is already an app which is done and is used quite a lot for administrative purpose of the entire app is already built up. In case you did notice about that, if I go into settings.py and go down here, notice there's a Django installed app which says admin. It is already there. Also, you might have noticed it in the URLs. There is an admin/ here, which is already being default here. So yes, it is already there, and we're going to write some code in this admin.py to utilize this. Okay. And this is what we do here. Then let's come to the apps.py. Now this is the apps file. It is a configuration file for the app itself. We'll be configuring a lot of classes. We'll be defining a lot of things in here. So we will be talking about that later on here. Next up is your models.py. Now this models.py is where we define our database models. Yes, it is exactly that file. And we can configure that for a little bit other things as well, but mostly we will be writing our configuration for database. And the important part is the Django automatically translates that into database table. So we don't have to worry about what kind of table it is and all of that. We just write it here as a simple code, and Django will automatically translate that as what kind of table I need to create, what rows and all these things. So it's really simple and easy. Then comes up our test.py file. Now this is usually used for unit testing. We won't be going much into the unit testing here, but obviously the basic stuff we will be walking through with that. And finally, we have got views. Now views is where you handle all the request and response logic for your web application. For example, user hits a button, what needs to be done when user hits a button, or user when gives us some data, what needs to be happen when user hits a button, or when data is being fetched, or we need to fetch some data from the database. All these things happens here. Okay, so this is a quick overview of how these things happen, how we create an app. Right now our app is there, but we haven't actually informed our base app, which is hello world in this case, that we are having an app. Notice I told you, whenever we are going to create an app, we are going to be informing this installed app that yes, we are having a new app here. Okay, so I think this is enough for this video. We have explored something new. We haven't done much. Yes, I do agree. We have just created an app and have explored what are these into every file, because we won't be doing it again. So it's obviously easier to understand that right now. I can understand. Just rewatch this video if you are not comfortable yet, but again, we will be moving forward from this video onward. In the next video, we will be configuring this app, making sure that our Hello World actually is aware of this Ola, and we'll try to make it up and running in the next video. Okay, so that's it for this video, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Okay, so welcome back again to complete backend development using Django. And now it's time to actually make sure that our app is up and running for the Ola. Okay, so we have created our app in the previous video. I hope you have watched that. Now it's time, first of all, the very first thing that when you make an app is make sure that our Django project is aware that we have created a new app. Because right now it's only aware about these 6 apps which comes as a default. So let's just first of all go ahead and make sure it is aware about that app. Okay, so we're gonna come on to this line at line number 31, and we're gonna hit an enter, and in the single quotes we're gonna make sure that it is aware of that. So we're gonna write an Ola here. Okay, and just for housekeeping purposes we're gonna put a comma there as well. Now go ahead and save this file. Now it is completely up to you where you want to write it, at the top or maybe at the bottom. The good practice is always to make sure that your app comes up at the bottom, and sometimes it's actually easier for you to understand as well. So usually the best practice is to keep this newer apps at the bottom here, but some people like to do at the top. Completely debatable, but doesn't really affect you much. Okay, so step number 1 is done, and now we need to go to our views. So go into the Ola, and here we're gonna have our views.py. Notice we are in the views here. This is the file where you create your views. Okay, what happens when somebody visits your homepage? Maybe this app is Ola, so somebody visited your website.com/Ola. So what should happen when this request is being made? So we're going to define a method here. We're going to call this as def, and you can call it whatever you like. Okay, this is completely on to you. I'm going to call this as simply, let's just call this as a homepage view, whatever you like. And in the parameter, we're going to pass in a request. This is always just exactly same. You always do the same thing, always pass a request. Okay, so once you have this request, what you need to do is you need to return a response, and we're going to return a response from HTTP response. Now again, this module is not yet available, so we're going to import that at the top. So we're going to say, you know what, we need to import that. Okay, so we are going to say import, and this is from Django.http, and what we're going to do is, oops, I wrote it wrong here, from Django.http, and we're going to say import HTTP response. It's actually a little bit harder to type and say it exactly at the same time. So what we're going to do is copy this and paste that here. So we're going to return an HTTP response. So what you want to say when somebody visits your Ola page. And I just want to say a simple word, simply like Ola means hello in Spanish. Okay, now it's totally up to you what you want to give as a response. Now, later on, we're going to learn that how we can respond as a template, can load up a beautiful web page and all these things. Right now, this is even more than enough how we want to do this. Okay, so this is good, but again, we need to do a couple of more configuration. Now, remember one more thing. Whenever you are going to create an app in Django 2, as of now, we don't get this urls.py file. It is there for our base app, but for this Ola, we don't have this url.py. What happens when anybody visits a Django app? It is being, first of all, interacted with this url.py, then it throws it into the equivalent, like for example, you want to visit Ola. The first thing always it interacts is this url.py. So we're going to do the same, right click on this Ola, and we're going to create a new file. And file name should be urls.py. Again, really complicated, urls.py. Make sure you name it exactly same. We are using a framework here. We cannot be liberal about it. So there we go. Now go into this url.py, and we're going to import a couple of things from here. Okay, we are going to copy this exact same thing in our URL, which is we're copying it from hello world to our Ola url.py. Okay, and we're going to change it a little bit here. Okay, first of all, we don't need admin functionality for this, so just get rid of that. Okay, but we need for sure the path here. Okay, this is the one we need. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to say from the same directory, dot means same directory. What I want to do is I want to import whatever that is written in views. Okay, and you don't need to say views.py, it's just a views here. And notice we are bringing up this functionality here, home page view. This is the thing which is going to respond something. That is why we are doing it. Okay, now in the URL pattern, we don't need to specify admin here. We're going to say, you know what, this is just the home page of my application. Means in this case 127.0.0.1, this is my home page. If I want somebody to access this from Ola page, I can say website.com/Ola. Okay, right now I just want to be this as the home page. Okay, now let's just get rid of this for a moment. Now who is returning this thing? Okay, this is returned by this home page view. Okay, so the next parameter comes up as from views. Notice from this file I want something which is home page view. Okay, and this is here. Now we will work on later on what I'm writing here right now, which is name equals as I'm saying is as index, or some people like to call it as home. Whatever you call that, it's completely liberal to you, whatever you want to say. I am not explaining it right now what it does. Surely in the future you'll understand its significance, and we'll talk about it later on. Okay, let's just save that. So now these all things are ready. Okay, but there is one more thing. Our app is now aware of it, but our app actually doesn't know what to do when this is being served. It knows that you have to go into admin / here when your path is being asked as admin, but it doesn't know right now that there is something on the home page as well which is serving as view. So we're going to say path here as well, and in the path we're going to say, you know what, this is the home page, so I'm not going to write anything. If that would be like Ola, I can just mention here. And yes, you are a little bit confused, but that is completely okay, because you can mention that path either in here in this url.py or in that app level py as well. I know this is confusing, but this is how it is. And then we're going to say include, and this include is going to be including whatever your app is. So we want to include this urls.py. So I'm going to say Ola dot and then urls. Okay, and notice one more thing here is, oops, I forgot this codes here, so let me just do that. And notice one more thing here, I'll keep this guy. And finally, notice we haven't included the include here, so I'm going to be copying that, and this comes up from this Django URL, so I'm going to be pasting that here as well. So notice now it is there. Okay, so finally we can actually run our project, and I'll walk you through again all these steps. Right now it's too much, I can understand it, but later on this will become a secondary nature and you're going to be breezing through over it. So let's just go up here and do a quick ls, and we are going to run our server again. So and manage.py, run server, hit enter. If there will be a couple of errors, it is going to notify to us. And right now it just says, hey, you have some unapplied migrations. That's completely okay. We will work on it later on, but you can access your app here. So let's just see what happens. Copy this and we can just go here. We already are having it. So there we go. And notice it says hola means hello in Spanish. That is pretty much. And you might be saying this is too much of work just for saying this, but notice we are running everything from backend now. It will become much more sense. Okay, so let me walk you through what we did all here. The first thing that we did was creating an app. So notice the command there was just creating an app. I hope you have written it down. So once you have created the app, the first thing that you want to do is go into settings.py and make sure your Django is aware of that app. Okay, that's the step number one. Then the step number two is go into your views here and make sure there is somebody who is serving for that view. If there will be a request for that, somebody should answer that. Okay, once you have done that, then the next thing that we'll be going is on a URL. In our URL, we'll be saying, you know what, when somebody comes up to our homepage of our Ola, we will be serving this views here, which is obviously coming from views.py. And we'll talk about this later on, not right now. Make sure you have also imported that here. Okay, so you have done all of this. Make sure you have created a new file here and have set it up everything into this. Now we are again gonna go back into urls.py and make sure this URL is also aware of this part here, ola.url. And once you have added that in the base file, which is urls.py of our top level app, then obviously it is going to be serving us as a project. Now, right now, we don't know how to include the templates and everything. Everything is manually being served by this this line of text, to be honest here, this is string here. But later on, we're going to learn how we can have these templates and all of this. I know this is too much of the things just for a hello world, but it's going to be all meaningful to you later on. So that's it for this video, and congratulations, you have created your very first app. And now it's time for a small assignment. You have to replicate again same things for namaste. I don't know how you spell that, that's completely up to you, no problem at all. But you should be able to create another app. Just like Ola, just create another app which says namaste. Just follow up all these steps and it should say namaste means hello in Hindi, okay? Or in India as well. So go ahead and you should post down all of the screenshot of that app, just the browser screenshot here on the Q&A section or the discussion section of the course. That's it for this video. Go ahead, watch that multiple times. It's completely okay, and I'll catch you up in the next video.